Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to it. The JRC, of course, here in just a moment. First, the disclaimer and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links will be right there in the description box for you, along with some labels in there as well. That way, if you want to go ahead and do a deep dive on the JRC, the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, on your own time, you're definitely welcome to do so. Trigger warning, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. First off, we do use profanity on the channel, and second, when we cover topics such as the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go ahead and no parental supervision is advised, alright? Alright, so we got storms all over the place out here in the southwest part of Missouri today, which means every single part of my body hurts. I have a massive sinus headache from hell, even after taking sinus medication. And it does kind of feel like from right there at the end of my neck and to my spine, I have an anvil sitting there, slowly crushing it into powder. So you might hear weird little noises. I apologize for that in advance, alright? Okay, so I scrolled down, unfortunately, and apparently there's more. Of course there is. So let's get to the word salad transcript. I will try to interrupt at a minimum, but I can't make any promises, folks. Alright, where we left off. As I mentioned in my letter to Commissioner Carliff on April the 11th at a U.S. House Representatives Oversight hearing, Commissioner Carliff was asked by Congressman Lynch to meet with the parents and adult children at JRC that are undergoing GED therapy. A copy of the hearing transcript is below. For the love of God, Mr. Lynch, you see, this is why I tell you folks, you can't blame Republicans for everything. The man who is forcing the poor FDA panel to have to listen to the exact same crap again is not a Republican, it's a Democrat. Let's also expose another uncomfortable truth that most people don't like to hear come out of my mouth. A lot of these snake oil cells and so-called cures in regards to autism that is being marketed to desperate parents, you want to know who's usually doing that? Because it's not the Republicans. It's Democrats. When I tell you that they are on the same level and have the same level of culpability, especially in regards to how people like myself are treated, this is exactly what I mean. When I tell you you can't trust any of them, that's not hyperbole. This is coming from an individual that has wheeled and dealt with these assholes face to face. If you got a Democrat sitting there where you gotta listen to the parents of the JRC, the Kool-Aid drinkers, you can't tell me that this is all caused by Republicans. Because it isn't. It's caused by greed, sadism, and, let's face it, eugenics. It is what it is. Now you can say, what does that have to do with the JRC? It's about how people like me are viewed. Burdens, a drag on society, a person who doesn't produce. Because we very much live in a country where your value is based off of your production. These are people who will sit there all day and scream that they are Christians, both left and right. But when you look at the core of things, especially when it comes to policy, they don't tend to follow what it is that they preach to the rest of us. Especially in regards to us disabled people. Because they really do look at us as second-class citizens. And the only time they give our issues any focus at all is during election season, when they can use us, and when we no longer have any value to them. What do you think they do? This is why I've always emphasized the importance of things like leverage. Because you can't appeal to their better side. They don't have one. Maybe that's me sounding pretty pessimistic, but I may be an optimistic nihilist, but at the end of the day, I'm still a nihilist. I'm going to tell you how it is, not how I want it to be. What is that thing they always say by the Bible? By their fruits you will know them. Well, Congressman Lynch, by your fruits we know you. And you are throwing aside the cries of kids just like Andre McCollum's, begging for help, begging for anyone to care that they spend every single moment of their lives living in fear, being terrorized, and nobody does anything at all because they call it medicine. And you guys just let it continue. And then you have the balls on the news to act like you have the moral high ground on anything. Anything. Then you got Republicans. No, abortion is bad in all circumstances. Oh, but you're disabled, and you're a burden, and you should, totally be in an institution. I'm not this jaded for no reason. But anyways, we're going to continue. I just wanted to point that out as to why I don't trust any of them, other than my actual lived experience while being an advocate and dealing with these people up in Jefferson City and St. Louis, Kansas City, every conference season, up at Osage even. Yeah. Alright. We are going to go through the whole Dr. Lynch, and then we're going to stop there for this particular video and go to the Caliph part for next time. I'm just doing this one video today because I got to do the next snap video right after this. Alright, the chair now recognizes Mr. Lynch from Massachusetts. Lynch, thank you, Chairman. Dr. Caliph, welcome. Thank you for your good work. Dr. Caliph, in March of 2024, the FDA issued a proposed rule regarding electrical stimulation devices that are intended to reduce or stop self-injurious or aggressive behavior in some patients. The proposed rule, if finalized, would remove ESDs, these electric stimulation devices, from the market, and the devices would no longer be considered legally marketed. It literally means they can't use them, period, Mr. Lynch. I won't give you the dignity of calling you a congressman. I've tried to read as much as I can on these. As an attorney, I try to refrain from making medical decisions on my own, especially for my constituents. I do know that the Geneva Convention regards these devices as torture. But I've also a group of family in my districts they have children and loved ones who are undergoing these treatments, and they claim that these treatments help. So we're going to trust the families, not the actual experts in torture. Not the UN itself telling you it violates the Geneva Convention. Not the biggest service provider for disability services within the United States, the Ark of the United States. We're not going to trust what we've seen with our own eyes on the video surveillance footage of what happened to Andre McClellan's back in 2002. We're going to ignore his screams while he's sitting there, while he's forced there, face down, begging them to stop. Those guttural screams that wouldn't be out of place back in the day, early 2000s, Gitmo. But the families say they help. By their fruits you know them, folks. Mr. Lynch, you may have just made the biggest mistake of your entire political career. Let me go ahead and continue this. Now, as a result of this rule, these treatments will go away, and my constituents have asked me to ask you and the FDA to meet with them to talk about the consequences of the FDA's rule. And so, as a member of Congress, on behalf of my constituents, I am asking you and all your staff to provide an opportunity for those families to meet with you and to discuss their concerns. Mr. Lynch, are you aware of the fact that there were hearings in regards to the proposed ban that string from 2014 to 2016? You said you've read all you can. Did you perchance go to YouTube, onto the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's own YouTube channel, where they provide multiple clips of parents speaking in those hearings that took place over a 2-year period, telling the exact same stories that have been copied and pasted for over the last 20 years? Did you ever watch the video of what was done to Andre McClellan's back in 2002? Did you listen to any of your constituents who were former students who stepped forward, bravely waiving their HIPAA rights to provide the FDA panel with their own ER documentation in regards to injuries that have occurred because of the GED device? Mr. Lynch, are you aware of the fact that those GED devices, on its lowest setting, is 3 times more powerful than a police taser sitting on kids as young as 9 years old? Are you aware, Mr. Lynch, in your reading, that the JRC has been caught multiple times shocking kids for standing up longer than 3 seconds, for hugging someone, for asking to go to the bathroom too many times because the teacher chooses to ignore them, or to shock afterwards when they're ignored and end up having accidents and then they're shocked for that too? Did you know that when Andre McClellan was shocked, the preceding shocks that came after that was due to the fact that his muscles were tension, an absolutely natural reaction to having electrodes being shot straight into the muscle, that he was then shocked more? Are you aware of any of these facts? But they said they help, so. Well, then that just solves everything, doesn't it? We should all just pack up and go home. Those Kool-Aid drinking families think it's the best thing since sliced bread. We're going to ignore the guttural cries of Andre McClellan's. We are going to ignore multiple interviews with Jennifer Masumba about the hell she went through. We're going to look over the fact that we have video surveillance footage within one of the JRC residences where a direct care staff repeatedly punched one of the students in the head while they were naked and in the shower. Are you aware of these facts, Mr. Lynch? Are you aware that the argument but the family says it helps, so is not an argument at all? Are you aware of the fact that you are helping to condemn a whole new generation to the absolute hell that the JRC inflicts on each and every single one of their students? Yes, even those who are not on the GED device. You are a disgrace to your office, sir. You do not deserve to be called a congressman. And even though I don't live in Massachusetts, if I did, I would be demanding for your resignation immediately. These parents have already spoke to the panel multiple times. We literally have video clips of that occurring on the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's own website. This is an issue that is very sensitive, sir. And all you did was just take the JRC's word, hook, line, and sinker. If you so-called actually really did your research, why does Andre McCullen's cries for mercy mean nothing to you? What about the two boys who were shocked after being woken up in the middle of the night 71 times each, also just like Andre Todd, face down on a 4-point board? Why doesn't their pain and suffering count? What about all the parents who refuse to have those kids put on those devices, where the JRC would then threaten to take away the custody of their children if they did not consent to them wearing that device? Where is your sympathy for them? No, you are a disgrace, sir. And you should resign immediately. Because, from what it looks like to me, the only things you have read is what the JRC and the Kool-Aid drinking parents have given you to read. You've not read the endless ER documentation describing in detail multiple injuries, evidence of malnutrition, so many bruises and scabs on the kids that there was not one piece of skin that was clear of bruising or scabs, and that ER doctors literally would have to, on occasion, order the JRC to take those kids off the device for 2 weeks so that they would have a chance to heal. And this is what you pull. Resign. And just so you know, sir, I have family that lives out in that area. I'm going to be advising my aunt, who's a special ed teacher, about how little you regard the most vulnerable of your constituents, that you would actually defend these individuals who are torturing kids that she has tried to help and teach over the years with minimal public help. All right, folks, I'm going to have to go and take a deep breath out of that one. And in case if you're wondering whether I am now eyeballing Mr. Lynch, you'd be damn right. I have family that live out in that area. I have family members who are also neurodivergent. They deserve a hell of a lot better than that. we're going to go ahead and close out on that one. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So if you could, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and folks, please don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you can have a good one. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye, everyone.